Welcome to Fantasy and Enchantment, where I describe fantasy books to my husband and see if he's enchanted. My name is Sarah.
And I'm Justin.
And we are back.
We're back!
With part 2 of Children of Fallen Gods.
I remember nothing.
I figured that would happen. So
I've had a lot. It's been a busy week. We've done a lot of things.
It's been like 4 days.
I did a lot of things.
Okay.
Mostly sit on the couch and watch TV.
Yes. We did also take care of our child, for the record.
That's true. She's fine.
Yeah, she's alive. Before we get too far into it, though, content warnings. You swear a lot. I swear a lot.
There's a lot of swearing.
There's a lot of swearing, and obviously spoilers for the book and the series. This is The War of Lost Hearts by Carissa Broadbent. Carissa, not Clarissa.
I'll probably call her Clarissa.
Because you're awful.
She's listening.
Okay.
She already knows my track record. I'm going to say her name wrong.
All right. Let's get started with the recap.
All right. So where did we leave off?
When we left off, Max and Tisana were fighting this war for Zareth, who has crowned himself king.
Right.
In separate places. Zareth did this weird magic thing where Tisana's life is tied to his. So Max is trying to figure out a way around that.
Okay.
Because he's a douche.
Right.
You don't want to be connected to that forever.
Yeah. You don't want to really be connected to anybody forever, as far as, like, your lifespan.
I was going to say, we're married.
Well, yeah, no, but, like, I'm sure if I die in an accident, you don't want to be like, oh, fuck, now I'm dead, too. Now the kid's got nobody to be in charge of her.
Yeah.
She's just got a random feral child.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that, and not so much the married part, but the life expectancy part.
Okay.
Right.
Because, I don't know if you know this, but our lives are tied together.
Right.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not literally, but legally.
We told the government that we have sex. And that we live in the same house.
And then I said, sure, I'll take this 12-letter long last name.
Here's my tax dollars, government.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe Biden.
Stop.
He's still responsible for a few more weeks. Then I get to scream at somebody else. I hate them all.
All right. Are you done?
For now.
Good talk. We are going to jump back in with Tisana's point of view. She wakes up hearing screams, and then she runs into another room. Remember, they're in, like, Max's family house.
Right. Because his dead family.
Yeah, because...
And the house was just sitting there.
Yep. The healer is there. There's a Surazin, the guards without the eyes.
No eyes. I like that. That's a cool look.
And the Surazin is lying on the bed, and she's having a seizure. The healer says that she has the magic toxicity sickness. And then...
She should have taken her tampon out.
Justin. Tisana asks where the screaming is coming from, and Nora says no one is screaming. So Tisana is just hearing.
Cool.
Something.
Just hearing voices now.
And then Nora leads her out of the room and gives her a drink, explains the magic sickness, and says people can get it if they use more magic than the human body can withstand. Tisana probably heard the screams coming from a deeper level of magic, because she's got Rashay in her head.
Right.
So she's connected to a deeper level of magic.
Okay.
Okay. And then we've got Ava. Do you remember who that is?
I remember that stupid name.
So she's a fae.
Yeah, she's one whose, like, story doesn't connect to anything yet, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to get
We've just
there.
got a completely new story halfway through the book.
We're going to get there.
Okay.
I promise it's going to connect. So when we left off with her, the humans are attacking the fae. They're trying to figure out why. They went to a city that was all destroyed. There were weird mutant fae there.
Right.
Found out that she's called an Esnera. Basically means she's cursed. She has to drink other people's blood, and then she can kind of take their magic when she does that.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and she's also with, like, this bird fae guy. And they find Kadwan, who was, like, the leader of one of the cities who got completely annihilated. Like, 16 people total survived.
Okay. Also choo-choo in the background. Not sure if you can hear that, but there's a choo-choo.
Fucking choo-choos.
All the time.
Kadwan is dissecting a body from the place that they were just at. They set it on fire before they left, but he
Okay.
must have gone back.
Pulled one out, barbecued one, and now he's going to cut him up some dinner.
He says the woman was changed somehow and tainted with human blood, and the humans are trying to make some kind of hybrid.
That sounds like a thing we would do.
Yeah.
Wait, is it an alien species? Can I fuck it? That's pretty much the way humans look at it.
That's not what's happening here.
Well,
for the record.
somebody would definitely fetishize
This
it.
is experimentation.
For
not
every weirdo freak there is
fetishization.
out there, somebody wants to have sex with it.
All right. Okay. The other bird fae says the humans are using heretic magic, and Cadwin says they should go to Naraja, which is an island of exiled fae. And they're exiled because...
Alcatraz.
No, it's not a prison.
Okay.
They're
It's
exiled.
Australia.
Sure, fine, Australia.
That's where we put all of our exiled creatures on this planet. Australia, where everything wants you dead. Also, Australia doesn't exist. It's not a real
Stop.
place. Look that up. That's a really fun flat Earth conspiracy. It's one of my favorites.
I'm going to double
Australia's not
check and
real.
see if we've had any listeners from Australia yet.
Probably not.
I mean, there was one from the UK the other day.
They're not real. Australia doesn't
Stop
exist.
it.
Steve Irwin's a myth.
You're a myth. Okay. They were exiled because their founder interbred with a human. And that's a big no-no for them.
Fucked it. Can't fuck it.
Yeah.
Can't fuck the humans.
Can't fuck the humans. Ishka, who's like the main bird fae guy, he says if they go there, they'll defile themselves. Cadwin gets angry and says the humans adapt while fae cling to tradition even when people are dying. Says he would trade all of his traditions to save the lives of his people. But Afa is like, we're going to have to find another way. We can't go there. She finds Cadwin by himself later, and he asks when she found out she was in a snare. She says she was 10. There was a priestess who sensed it in her, and that's the night her dad tried to choke her to death, basically. Cadwin says again, they need to go to Australia, I guess.
Yeah. Where everything wants you dead.
She eventually is like, okay, I'll write to my father and ask.
Ask if we can come to Australia.
Yes. And then it's Max's point of view. Him and his soldiers are in this, like, Vegas, like, city.
Right. I remember that. I made Vegas jokes.
You did.
Sounds right.
Like you do.
Yeah. Well, Vegas is a good time.
He finds Moth drunk at a table, and Moth is, like, 13, so...
Well, you get drunk in Vegas. I hear. I don't know. I didn't.
No, you didn't. You do also get pregnant in Vegas, though.
Yeah, you got knocked up in Vegas.
Yep.
That's a thing that happened.
Yeah. You didn't think it was funny.
What happened in Vegas did not stay in Vegas.
Nope. And then Max sees a maid whispering to someone. Moth says the other soldiers went upstairs, and gets this weird feeling and he says they're not alone there. So they go up the stairs. The floor is covered in blood. Max starts opening doors.
That's noticeable even in Vegas. Floor covered in blood.
Yes.
People would suspect something going awry.
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. And then he finds a soldier who says he's with their true king, so not Zareth.
Right.
The other soldiers start fighting Max. Moth kills one of them. Max says they all need to leave the city immediately. Zareth tells Max to come back to Corbius, which is the house. And then later Max finds Moth crying because he's 13 and he just killed somebody.
Right.
And tells him he should feel bad about killing someone no matter the intentions. Because, like, you are, in fact, a human being. I know you struggle with that.
Yeah, I do struggle with understanding
Human.
the humans.
Human.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doing the human things.
And then it's Tasana's point of view that Sirazine spends 3 days in bed. Simon is trying to help her. And then Tasana asks Rashay if they can help, but Rashay says no one can. And the Sirazine dies the next day.
That seems like an unnecessary part of the plot.
Well, remember Tasana's got these black veins in her arm?
Right.
So she might be coming down with this magic toxicity sickness.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's connected.
Okay.
Nura says the Syrazian's death might solve their problems with the Threllian lords because those lords are upset that Tasana killed that whole estate at the end of the last book.
Right.
And they have blackmailed the other slaves they still have who've been sending letters basically asking for Tasana's head. So, one of the other Syrazines cuts off this dead girl's head. Samrin uses his magic, because he can, like, manipulate flesh, to turn it into Tasana's head.
Cool.
And then Tasana, like, scoops out her eyes because... Or no, she doesn't have the eyes. Never mind. I'm thinking of something else.
Are you thinking of a different eye scooping?
I think so, yes.
Jesus Christ, what kind of books are you reading?
Because Tasana's got really noticeably different eyes because she's fragmented. She's got one green, one silver.
Right.
So it's good that Syrazine doesn't have the eyes. Because they can do everything else, but they wouldn't have been able to change her eyes.
Right. So now we're just mailing off severed body parts to people?
Yes.
Okay.
They're trying to trick the Throlian lords into thinking, we gave you Tasana's head, please don't murder these other slaves.
You can't mail body parts, though. It's illegal.
That won't be the first time.
You know it's illegal to mail body parts, and they qualify it under the same law that they qualify prostitution. It's trafficking of human flesh. That's a real thing.
I mean, I guess.
It's a real thing. That's the way that
works.
it's listed.
Yep. Okay. Then it's Max's point of view. He meets Zareth, and Zareth is sitting at his dad's desk. Max notices that Zareth has lost a lot of weight. Zareth makes a comment about him and Tasana wanting to wage a bloodless war, quote unquote.
Yeah, when you burn everybody, it's not so much blood.
Well, no, Max is doing his best to kill as few people as possible. Because he's lived through a war before. They're very bloody. He doesn't want to do that again.
Okay, Israel.
Alright. Max says, the more people I kill just leaves fewer to witness your divine rule, my illustrious king. So he's pulling out the smart-ass comments again.
Right.
He asks why Zareth is doing all this. And Zareth says Max grew up privileged, which is true. Max grew up in like a noble military family. Zareth's mom worked in a brothel, and he says Ara was filthy from down there. Then we go back to Aoife's point of view. They go to a market town where the city is like built up inside the trees.
Okay, tree houses.
Tree houses. They're all connected by bridges. She picks up a letter from her dad and another from her sister. Ishka gets one from his son. The letter from her dad says they're forbidden from going to Australia.
Can't
what a
go
surprise.
there. Don't go there.
Don't go to the exile place.
We don't like it.
Yeah. And then it's Tasana's point of view. She's training with Nura and gets sucked into Vershay's memories for a minute. Max comes up behind them, and then they go back to her room and they have sex.
Okay.
Because it's the first time they've seen each other in a while. Later, Max says he has a hard time being in the house for obvious reasons.
He killed his family there.
Yep, all of them. His brother Brian still doesn't know what really happened. Partly because Max was literally forbidden from telling anybody. And partly because Max doesn't want to go up to his brother and be like, hey, I killed everybody in our family. My bad.
Oopsies.
And then he says he just wants to see everything again. So they go to his younger sister's room first. And then the rest of them, he sees burn marks on the floor. And then he just bolts out of there because everything else was cleaned up pretty much, but not the burn marks.
Hard to clean up the burn marks.
Yeah.
As it turns out.
He says he wishes she could have known his family and him before he was broken. And she says she wouldn't have fit in because she's a foreigner and a former slave. They probably would not have been super excited.
They don't take too kindly to that in the noble houses.
Yeah. So it's probably for the best,
Get this dirty slave girl out of here.
The next day, Max says they need to visit someone at Ilyazath, which is the prison. But then we go back to Aoife's point of view first. She's flirting with someone in a tavern and then sees Kadwan by himself. So she sits next to him. He says he has survivor's guilt, which makes sense. And then asks what her father said in his letter. So she tells him, and then he says her dad is a coward.
He's scared of Australia.
He
The
is.
kangaroos and the spiders and the sharks.
To be fair, there's a lot of stuff out there.
There is a lot of stuff out there.
I don't want to die. We're not going to Australia.
Part of me is like, oh, maybe Australia is not so bad. And then the rest of me is like, pretty terrible. As far as like visiting other countries goes, it's not at the bottom of the list. But
It's not at the top either.
yeah, I'm like, there's nothing in Australia that I'm like, man, I really want to see that. I can see kangaroos at the zoo.
Some zoos, yes.
Also, I do want to swim with sharks someday, but you can do that in Florida. And I don't really want to go to Florida either, but I'll go for sharks. I'd go to Florida over Australia. I'm pretty sure everything in Florida wants to kill you too, but it's mostly the people.
Yeah. People on the drugs.
And the hurricanes.
Right.
Right. Gotta watch out for those.
Yeah.
You can see them coming, though.
There is usually some warning, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty slow moving. It's fine.
Okay. Cadwin asks why she's so loyal to her dad, and then they start arguing, and an arrow comes on the window with something wrapped around it, and then there's a big explosion. Cadwin says it's the humans. The humans are there. Right now.
And they've got explosive arrows. Is it Rambo? Because Rambo had explosive tipped arrows.
I'm going to say it probably wasn't Rambo.
I think it was Rambo 3. That's the best one.
Okay. Not Rambo.
All right.
And then Tasana, they stand in front of the prison, which is just like a big white building. Max says the Arons didn't build it, they discovered it. And Roche is freaking out in her head and saying, I want out, I want out, I want out.
Also, for the record, in my brain, I just thought of how much cooler this story would be if suddenly Rambo was a part of it.
Oh my god.
It just turned into a Rambo story halfway through the second book. What a great way to do a book.
There's no Rambo. I'm very sorry, Justin.
Yeah. Sylvester Stallone never would have approved it. He would have wanted to write it himself.
Okay.
Continue.
I will, actually. There are carvings on the walls, but no doors or windows. A Syrazine shows up and asks who they need to see. Max says, Vardir. When they keep walking, Max puts his hand on the wall and it opens. So it's a big magic building, in case you didn't get that.
With magic walls.
With magic walls. Vardir is sitting on the floor, smiling like a crazy person. Roche wants to kill him immediately. Tasana shows him her black veins. He says she's wielding Roche's power directly. So she's the first person to do that. And then Vardir lunges for Tasana. Max scares him off, and then Vardir gets really serious all of a sudden and says they're all coming for all of them. And this is when Roche takes over Tasana and says Vardir is the one who locked it up and then tortured it. So that's why she wants out. That's why she hates Vardir so much.
Okay. That checks out.
Max puts his hand on the wall. It doesn't open. Tasana does, and then it does open. So they run down the hall. Tasana starts seeing a vision of her mother. Max is telling her it's not real. They get to the entrance. The door doesn't open. And then Ilyazoth, the prison, starts talking to them.
Okay. Makes perfect sense.
Says it's Max's home. And then says, what difference does a few weeks make? And then they finally leave.
The fuck?
That'll make sense in a little while.
Stupid. Talking prisons.
Hey, it's magic.
It's a building.
It's a building with magic in it.
So Snake Mountain and Castle Grayskull, but they don't talk.
Okay.
Fact.
All right. And then it's Max's point of view. He says Ilyazoth tortures people with their worst fears. It probably reacted to them, especially because of their magic. Tasana asks later if he would have gone there had he been convicted of war crimes. And then he says yes. So, he was almost sentenced there.
Alcatraz.
Like extreme Alcatraz.
Extreme Alcatraz.
Yes. And then it's Tasana's point of view. She wakes up and sees a note from Max. It says, your snoring was charming and you were too peaceful to wake. Dinner later? Question mark. She sees another note that was slid.
Also, you farted in your sleep, and I heard it.
I mean, she has made fart jokes in the book before, so.
All right.
Not in this
Why are you
particular-
leaving out the fart jokes?
It was in the last book. I did mention it.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, I think I vaguely remember that.
Okay.
Okay.
Get off my ass.
Maybe I like it there.
All right. I did that to myself. She sees another note that was slid under the door. It's from one of the refugees who says they want her help with something. So she goes to meet the woman who gives Tasana food and tells her to eat. She talks about her family. She
What kind
left
of food?
behind. Just some kind of soup thing.
Okay. A sandwich or something.
No.
Just curious what they're eating.
And then Tasana's vision gets blurry and she passes out.
Oh, so she got drugged.
She got drugged.
Drug soup.
Drug soup. Yeah.
Soup.
Okay.
Let me get some soup.
All right. And then it's Apha's point of view. She's on the ground with Katawan next to her. All of the buildings are on fire. She tries to get Katawan up, but he's unconscious. So she bites him and drinks his blood to use his magic. And then wakes him up. They start running for the inn where the others are. She gets pinned to a wall by a spear, like straight through the middle.
All right.
And then a human walks up to
Leave
her.
a mark.
Yes. Yes, actually. She bites the guy's hand and shoves herself off the spear. So she just
Pushes through.
pushes through it.
That's
Yeah.
a Rambo move.
It is. So she is Rambo.
Yeah.
Look, I found Rambo.
Kinda Rambo.
Kinda
She's not as
Rambo.
cool as Rambo.
Okay.
Rambo's the badasses of all badasses. He's awesome.
All right.
He's Rambo. He barely says anything for like 5 straight movies.
Okay. And then Ishka comes in and says they need to abandon the city, and she passes out. Probably because of the
What with the spear and all through the
the
middle?
big hole
Yeah.
in the middle. And then it's Max's point of view. He's training with his soldiers. Nura finds him later and gives him a necklace. It was his mother's. His mother gave it to Nura. She says a lot has changed since then, so he should save it for his future daughter. And he's like, no, she gave it to you. You have it. So she's still going to keep the necklace.
Okay.
Zareth comes running up to them and says there's a big problem. Because Zareth has now realized that Tasana's gone. And then Tasana wakes up in like this weird dungeon. And then Riche is talking and says it understands mourning now. That's good that you understand death, I guess. But it can't remember what it mourns. It's just a collection of missing pieces. Tasana realizes her eyes are covered and her hands are chained to the wall behind her. She hears voices. Someone takes her blindfold off. It's a man and a woman. The woman is part of the orders, but the man is Atric Avenus, who is technically the rightful king, like by bloodlines and everything.
Okay.
The woman says they don't need Tasana, they need Riche. So that's why they
We're gonna
take
have to carve you up and get that out of there.
Yes. And then Tasana realizes she has stretograms tattooed on her arms. So while she was knocked out, they basically crippled her magic.
Okay.
The woman says it would be a waste to let her die. And like, oh, that's comforting.
Yeah. That's nice of you.
And Tasana gets mad and says, I destroyed one of the most powerful houses in Threll. Izine Mykov thought he could control me too. That was a mistake. I'm a much more valuable friend than enemy. So I'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
Let me out here.
Although she's talking an awful lot of shit for somebody who can't use her magic right now.
Max's point of view, he's in a dungeon interrogating a refugee with Nura and Samrin. The refugee was spotted running away with Tasana's butterfly necklace that Max gave her in his hand. The guy says he handed Tasana off to someone. Max is determined to scare the shit out of this guy, so he turns into a snake man.
Oh, right. Snake Man.
The guy says she's at Avenus Palace and they're gonna kill her. So Max runs out of the room and starts drawing a stratogram and says he's going alone.
He slithers away as fast as possible.
Yes, because he's a snake.
Yeah.
Tasana wakes up. She's now chained to a table. The woman pulls out a knife because she is gonna carve Riche out.
Just like a pumpkin.
Kind of, yeah.
It's pumpkin season.
It is pumpkin season, to be fair. Tasana feels Riche's panic and decides to let it consume her because that's the easiest way to get the magic to wake up. And then she senses Max and decides to use the woman's magic against her. Riche breaks the stratograms on her arms, kills the woman, and then runs out of the room to find Max. So she can now have her magic again.
Okay.
And then Max gets to the palace, turns into Fire Snake, flies through, and finds Tasana, like, turning the soldiers into dead people.
Right.
Because she
Just
does a thing where
does
she-
the touching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then they...
Got it.
Yep. They hear explosions, and Max says Zareth sent the army, and he was like, oh, great, this asshole. They see all of the soldiers fighting. Tasana says that they can help, so Max decides they're going to perform, because Tasana likes to perform. Or she's good at it because she's been doing it for a long time.
Right.
Since she was like
With
13.
the murders.
And the slaving.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's Apha's point of view. She wakes up 2 days later. Ishka says the humans were looking for something. They go back to the city and find that it's been completely destroyed. She tells Katawan they're going to Australia, I guess. Whether her dad likes it or not. And says, officially, She's the Tyranness. She's in charge. At least she should be.
Also, why did they ask her dad in the first place?
Because technically her dad is considered the ruler right now, even though it should have passed to her.
Oh, okay. So they were asking permission.
Yes.
Better to beg forgiveness than ask permission.
Yep.
That's what 2 divorces and a 3rd marriage will learn you.
Okay. No comment there.
No comment. Okay, continuing.
We're still seeing if you're going to end up with that 3rd divorce.
I got a punch card. After the 3rd one, I get the 4th one free.
Okay. That's Tasana's point of view. They join the soldiers. Bells start to ring. She turns in time to see Avernus, the rightful king,
Right.
jump from his balcony. So he's dead.
That's which one of the Game of Thrones kids did that?
God, why can't I remember his name? It wasn't Joffrey, it was his brother.
Yeah, it was his brother.
I don't know, I can't remember his
I
name.
don't know, one of those kids.
He was not, I feel like it started with a T, but he was not very memorable.
No, he
Tommen,
didn't.
was that it?
Was it Tommen?
I don't know.
Could have been Tommen.
We'll look it up later.
No, we won't.
Okay.
Nobody cares anymore because that show ended really poorly, and now nobody gives a fuck about it.
That's fair.
It's a real shame because people went crazy for that show for what?
Years.
5.5 seasons.
Yeah.
And then it went down the toilet real fucking quick.
Yeah. Okay. Tasana uses his stratogram to go back to the refugee camp. Stands in the middle of all of them, including these people who just gave her up to these other people. Says she won Xerath's war. Now she's going to win theirs. And then her and Max go straight to the towers, which is where the orders are located.
Okay.
And then it's Apha's point of view. She convinces the others they need to go to Australia.
I don't like that there's 2 stories going on.
By the end of the book, it will be one story.
I'm just saying, I don't like the way it's done.
Okay. They decide they're going to pretend to be there as part of a political visit. Because they don't want the people in Australia, damn it, to know that, like, they're coming to investigate. They don't want them to know where they're from because there's been a lot of tension before.
Right.
Then it's Max's point of view. He's talking to Nura, and she says a lot more people could have died. So she's trying to make him feel better. And he now has black veins in his arms. Tasana is still unconscious after her whole stunt with all of the murder and everything.
Okay.
Because she used a lot of magic, so it wore her out.
Right.
So he sits next to her bed, and then Riche talks to him using Tasana. Asks if love feels like an open wound. And says Tasana dreams about him. I was like, that's creepy.
Yeah. Well, so you've got one character with 2 people inside, and then you've got one book with 2 stories inside. It's a real inception of a book, and I've never even seen the movie Inception.
I told you, it's a little confusing in the beginning.
We're halfway through the 2nd book. It's not the beginning anymore.
Okay. It's a little confusing. By the end, it is no longer going to be confusing.
All right.
By the end of this book. I promise. Okay. Tasana's point of view. She goes to talk to Max, and then Sorrel comes in and says the woman who tricked her felt guilty about it. And she's like, well, that's nice. I almost died.
Yeah. Did we kill her?
I don't think so.
They should.
Well, I mean, Tasana, like, feels a lot of empathy for the refugees and the slaves because she sees them as being basically the same people and, like...
She values human life, which is unfortunate.
Okay. Okay. Her and Max meet with Nura. She says no one has seen Xerath in a few days, and he's going to have a celebration ball soon because he won the war.
Okay. He's going to throw a party.
Yeah. And then it's Apha's point of view. She tells Kadwan about some of her tattoos. And they all leave for Australia. There's a human queen and a fae king. They have dinner with them. Apha gets the sense they already knew about the humans attacking. Kadwan says his kingdom will ally with them for life if they help. The other king refuses and says he can't offer them anything. So that did not go the way they hoped.
Didn't pan out.
Max, he's at the celebration ball. An older general comes up to him and says it's a shame Xerath's mother was a whore.
Too bad she's a whore.
Yeah.
That's a real Italian thing. Oh, too bad she's a whore.
Okay. It's a real noble family
Yeah.
hierarchy thing.
Yeah.
Tasana pulls him away before he can say something stupid and stick his foot in his mouth. Because he's got no filter at this point.
Right. No fucks to give.
Like someone else I know.
I don't know what you're talking about. Stop
Okay.
looking at me like that.
Nura finds him and says Zareth wants to see all of them. He's standing in front of a window and says he never thought he was naive, but he's realized he's surrounded by traitors.
And cunts.
Yeah. The guards bring in a woman and Tasana's old friend Boss. Boss helped her escape the estate. He didn't realize it at the time.
Right, he was the guard or something, right?
Yeah, he got his nose chopped off.
Right.
Yeah.
Got no nose.
Then it's
You
Tasana's
should get like a
friend.
fake metal nose or something. Something cool.
I mean, back when syphilis was a much bigger deal, people used to get like fake noses and stuff to replace them when they fell
Pirates?
off.
Didn't pirates get syphilis? What did pirates get? I mean, I know they got
Scurvy.
scurvy, but I thought that there was an STD that they always got. Too.
It might have been syphilis.
Might have been.
Okay.
Got claws for hands and peg legs.
I don't think that was from the syphilis.
I'm not sure why. Why did so many pirates have peg legs? Why did they lose the limbs like that?
Probably the cannonballs.
I don't think there were that many. I think that's exaggerated.
I
don't think there were
feel
that many.
like the hooks and the peg legs were also an
Just-
exaggeration.
Just the pirating in general. Were there that many pirates back in the day? Was that really that big of a problem, or did we just kind of glorify it?
I don't know.
I'll have to look into pirates.
Okay. Riche says to Tisana that Zareth has been poisoned by all the magic he's using. Zareth says Boss gave her up to Avernus, so Boss is the reason she was in that dungeon in the first place.
So he kind of balanced it out. He set her free once, and then he caught her.
Yeah, well, because he was mad that he unwittingly helped her escape, and then he got punished for it. He lost his nose.
I mean, he's kind of got a stake for revenge. It makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's why Tisana has been content to just leave him be. He's like, he's justified in his anger. I'm not gonna fuck with him.
That's fair, I guess. Got no nose.
Yeah. Zareth gives Tisana a dagger and tells her she can have justice. She says no, and then Zareth loses it and says his war won't be over until the traitors are gone, and then commands Tisana to execute them. She's got the blood pact, so technically it's like a magical compulsion
You
thing.
gotta do the thing.
But she's like fighting against it. She refuses again. And then Zareth is like, all right, if I can't make you with the blood pact, I'll make you another way. And then he starts beating shit on a Max. Because that's a reasonable thing to do.
Yeah.
So she lets Riche take control. And then Riche kills Zareth,
Yep. That seems like a proper solution to that situation.
except their lives are tied together.
Uh-oh.
So she starts to die.
Uh-oh. No bueno.
No bueno. And then it's Apha's point of view. The queen finds them later, the human queen, and asks if Kadawan meant his offer and shows them a map. She says the humans came there a few months ago for asylum and tried to steal the map. The map shows hidden places of magic. She says the humans killed one of her kids and shows them a letter from the humans, and it says there's a coalition that's going to be meeting soon. All the humans are going to be meeting to conspire. I don't know.
Do bad human stuff.
Yes, that. From Max's point of view, he uses a stratogram to take Tisana to that woman in the Vegas city. She's at this point not breathing.
All these cities are real close together, huh?
Well, no, the stratograms can jump like 10 or 20 miles at a time, usually.
Oh, okay. Oh, I forgot they just teleport places.
Yeah. And sometimes I do have to do multiple stratograms to travel like really long distances, but
Okay. I forgot. I thought they were horsebacking it everywhere.
no.
That's right, because I decided they should have used a blimp and that they weren't using a blimp.
Right.
Right, we got through the blimp thing.
Okay.
Okay.
No blimps.
There should be blimps, for the record. There should always be blimps. Why are there not more blimps today? It would seem like a really fun way to travel.
What's that? The Hindenburg. Probably something to do with the Hindenburg.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago. They inflate them different now. The Goodyear blimp has never gone down in a fiery crash.
that you know of.
I'm pretty well versed on the Goodyear blimp. It's
Okay.
never gone down in a fiery crash. Let's just get some blimps around and just start floating them around places. I want to go places on a blimp.
Okay.
Blimp.
You done?
I guess so.
Okay. The woman tells Max how to use his magic to pay for Tisana's deal with Zareth. So he does it, and then it's Tasana's point of view,
Her point of view is just a blank chapter because bitch
she's
is almost
dying.
dead.
Yeah. Rashay asks why she doesn't want to die. And she's like, the world has been cruel to you. Why do you want to still be in it? Tasana says it's worth it. She didn't have enough time to do the things she wanted to do. Then she vaguely sees Rashay, not like fully, but like an outline of a person. Rashay says it's been searching for something for a long time, and it will give its life for Tasana's. So Tasana opens her eyes and sees Max next to her. So this weird magic thing took Rashay's life as payment instead of Tasana's.
Okay.
So Rashay's gone.
So the weapon is dead.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is what it wanted, if you recall.
Yeah, it wanted to be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of shitty existence to just be a consciousness in someone else's body
Yeah,
for
it doesn't seem like a real great time.
centuries.
Yeah. Hard pass.
Yeah. And then it's Apha's point of view. They spend time deciding what to do at the meeting. She goes into the city that night and realizes she's being followed by the king's half-brother, whose name is Oren. He says he knows her mother. She spent time in Australia. Damn it.
She's been hanging out here, fucking with the kangaroos.
And she was friends with Oren, and that her mother was pregnant when she was taken from the city. He's her father.
Oh, cool.
She goes to Cadwyn's room, and they start making out, because she's just mad and wants to do something else.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that she was making out with the guy who was her father.
No.
Okay, because that would have been like a super fucked up way to go.
No, I'm not into incest. No, thank you.
Okay. Your books get real off the rails sometimes, so I didn't know what you were saying there.
You get off the rails sometimes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. He stops her and asks what happened. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't want to say it out loud. So they fall asleep together. Max's point of view, they make it back to the towers and sleep for a while. Tasana says Rashay is gone. They tell Nura that Rashay is gone. Nura is officially Arch-Commandant because she was second in command and now Zareth is dead. Tasana doesn't have magic anymore. Somehow she lost it.
Yeah, because the weapon's gone, so she lost everything.
Well, she had magic before that.
Oh. She's a pretty shitty weapon now. She's pretty fucking useless these days.
Okay. Nura tells them to take 2 weeks off. Then they'll go back to Thrall to fulfill the rest of Tasana's bargain. Samron says they both have some kind of magic poisoning. And he tells Max not to use magic for a while.
He's not gonna listen.
No. So they go to the refugee camp first. They tell Phileas, who's one of like the leaders there, that they're going back to Thrall soon. And they start strategizing. Max starts speaking Thereni, which is Tasana's native language. And they go back to the cottage. So he's taught himself a little bit of it to kind of impress her.
Okay.
And then it's Apha's point of view. She wakes up, there's a broken window.
I like how he can like teleport and he's saved her life a handful of times. And he still is like, oh, I gotta impress this bitch. Maybe I'll learn this other language. That'll probably be what drops her panties for me.
She has dropped those panties a number of times at this point.
Exactly. So like he's kind of overkill a little bit. He's
All right.
trying to impress her with learning a new language.
God forbid he do this thing
Just saying.
to have a connection
Just saying.
with his lover. God forbid, Justin.
I'm not a language person. I'm not learning any new languages.
I know,
so-
that's fine. I don't speak another language.
I barely speak English.
Okay. There's a guy from Apha's home standing over her, and he says her father sent the army. So her father found out they went to Australia regardless, and has now just decided to fuck everything up.
All right. Burn down Australia. I'm pretty sure we did that. Everybody forgot about it because it was during the plague time.
All right.
But we did burn down Australia.
I don't think we did. I think it burned.
Well, it's only half there now.
Okay.
Nobody knows. Everything there just tried to kill the fire. Because that's what Australia does. Turns out the fire won most of the time.
Yeah. They start running out of the palace. Apha wants to help the Australians. Shaban gets killed. Her, like, commander.
She did.
Apha bites Cadwan to get his magic again. Cadwan gets shot by an arrow and falls over a balcony. So he's dead. The queen comes up behind her and says she trusted them. She thinks that they lured this army there.
You guys lured this army here, and now all of you are getting killed by them. This is your fault.
Yeah. And both of her children are now dead. So Now makes no, she's mad. Ishka pulls Afa away and says Kadwan didn't survive, which he fell off a balcony
Right. Probably not going to make it.
with an arrow somewhere in this vicinity.
Yeah.
Max's point of view, he goes back to his garden. Tasana says it can flourish even if there isn't a cranky man watching it all the time. And then they have a bunch of sex for a couple days.
Just fucking
Yeah.
raw dogging it in his cabin.
His cottage.
Cottage, whatever. Cabin, cottage, same thing.
She's upset that her magic hasn't come back a few days later. Max is like, why don't we try something? He cuts open his hand and says she can try using his magic. But when they do that, he gets hurt, so she says they're not going to do it again. And then it's Afa's point of view.
Why does he have to cut his hand open?
Because the magic is in his blood. So they're going to share blood.
He's been inside her for the past couple
Not
of days.
his blood, though. Damn it, Justin. Not
All
his
right,
blood.
whatever.
Okay.
Apparently magic is not an STD.
No, it's not. Damn it, Justin.
Oh, I caught the magic. You're going to need some penicillin. Clear that right up. Burns when I pee.
Stop it.
Got the bumps.
Stop. God.
It's a discharge.
Ugh. Too much. Rein it back in, sir.
Discharge was it. That's where we went over the line.
Yes.
All right. Magic discharge. Continue.
God damn it. Ishka flies him away and pulls an arrow out of her. He says he went north to see what happened with his people. She says she'll take the throne away from her father, but they're going to go to the meeting first with the humans, and it's in 4 days, so they got to book it. And then it's Tasana's point of view. Her and Max wake up. Someone is knocking on the door. There's a chest sitting outside with Tasana's name on it. It has hands in it. So
Cool.
again,
It's amazing.
they're mailing body parts.
There it is. Chopping people's hands off.
Some are from kids and babies.
Okay. Just a box full of hands.
It's a box full of hands.
That's crazy.
There are a bunch of birds circling over them.
Yeah, because they're hungry.
Well, so in case you didn't figure it out, those are slave hands
Okay.
that was sent back to them.
Checks out.
Yeah. And then they turn around and there's this big shadowy figure in their living room. It says the Zoraka family didn't like being lied to. So they figured out that the head that they sent them was not
right.
actually Tasana. And now they're mad.
You sent us a fake head, so now we sent you a box of hands.
Yeah. Baby hands. Max and Tasana start trying to fight it, but it's a fucking shadow.
Can't fight a shadow.
So it disappears.
Shadow probably can't hurt you either, in fairness.
I mean, it's gonna try.
Oh.
Tasana sees it come out of a mirror and it goes after Max. So she runs into another room, draws a stratogram to break all the glass, and the thing gets stuck coming out of a mirror. Tasana says they need to leave. The birds that were circling, they all fly away, but they leave a note behind. It says they're in danger, there are more coming for them. So Max sets the cottage on fire, and they use a stratogram to leave. So,
Okay. Now he's burned down 2 of his houses.
well, no, the first one didn't get burned down.
There was burn marks.
There were burn marks.
Okay.
And then it's Afa's point of view. Her and Ishka fly through the human lands. They find a large building with columns. Afa wants to go in through the window, but Ishka pulls her through the doors and says it's going to be fine. We'll be fine. Then Max's point of view, they end up on an island in front of a large building with columns. They go inside, and Ishka is standing inside. He says he's there to right a wrong he made a long time ago. And then back to Afa. There are about 30 people inside this building. One of them is the man she fought in the trading city. She bit his hand. Ishka says to them he fulfilled their request and wants them to fulfill their end. The human says Afa will become the most powerful thing the world will ever see. She starts trying to fight them off. She screams for Ishka, but then he leaves. So have you connected the dots yet?
No.
Afa
Other than they're all in the same building right now.
Afa is Rashay.
I didn't get it at all.
Okay. To Sana's point of view, she says
That's
that
kind of where I thought this was all going, but I don't know how we just got there because it didn't make any sense.
Okay. To Sana's point of view, she recognizes kind of Ishka from Rashay's memories. Ishka asks if that's what she called herself. Like, because Tasana says, you knew Riche, and she goes, oh, is that what she called herself? Because Riche, in their language, means no one. And then it's Apha's point of view. She remembers pain. She has organs rearranged. The humans cut away body parts a little at a time. She loses her memory over time, and then eventually forgets her name. So the first time she's put into someone else's consciousness, they ask, who are you? And she says, I am no one. I am Riche.
Okay.
Ishka, it's Tasana's point of view again. Ishka can tell her and Max had Riche's magic. Tasana says the Fae are gone. Ishka says that's what they wanted the humans to think. He says he needs their help because something is coming. Asks them to listen and says hundreds of years ago, humans murdered entire Fae houses. He gave them Apha in exchange for an alliance. Her rare magic as an Isnera made her a cataclysmic weapon. So there's been essentially two stories happening at the same time.
Right.
There's a new Fae king who's united them, and he wants vengeance against the humans. Fae have also started to go missing, and this new king wants Riche back.
So wait a minute. So they killed her. She gets chopped up into pieces. Her consciousness floats around for centuries. Right.
Well, it's not that it's floating around for centuries. They must have found a way to contain it, but she doesn't remember what that was.
Right.
She just remembers the torture.
It eventually gets put into
Max first.
Then
Tasana.
Now it's dead. Mm-hmm. Now they meet Ishka. So he's just been alive for centuries.
Yeah.
Hanging out in the same building.
No, he sent them that note telling them he needed to meet them, so they came to meet him in the building.
Okay.
He's not just been hanging out there for 500
But
years.
so he's just 500 years old, just kind of.
Well, yeah, older than that, because he was an adult by the time
Right.
Ava knew him.
So the whole story, like, basically your one story is in the past and one story. Got it. That's what I thought was happening, like, when we first got into the second part of this story, but
Yeah.
it didn't make any sense when. Because the way that the story worked was we were on Ishka's part and they went into the building, and then we were on Max's part and they went into the building, and then they just met him there. And it's like, how has she been around for centuries when this is just now? It collided in a weird way to where it seemed like everything was all happening at once.
It makes a little bit more sense reading it.
Yeah, I would hope so. At least.
Okay.
Clarissa.
Damn it, Justin. Max says no. Tasana says she can't be a weapon again. And then Ishka is like, okay, whatever. He gives them a feather and tells them to burn it if they change their mind. And says his son is one of the missing Fae. So that's why he's got a stake in this at this point. So Max and Tasana go to the towers. They find Nura. Nura says she needs to show them something. They go to a room under the towers. Verdir is there, who is no longer in prison. And Max is like, why the fuck is he here? And Nura says, I needed him or something. Nura holds a bowl and says she's going to show them her memories. And they all put their hands in it. So it's kind of like Harry Potter and the...
Where he puts his head in the sink?
Yeah, it's not a sink. I can't remember the word for it right now. But it's not a sink.
That always reminded me of the... You weren't raised Catholic. I was.
No, I was not.
When you go into a Catholic church, they've got a little bowl of holy water that you're supposed to dip your hand into.
I mean,
make
I've
the
seen
sign of
those,
the
yeah.
cross. That thing in Harry Potter always reminded me of that bowl, because sometimes at churches they're really big. And it's like, why is he dunking his head in holy water? That's weird.
Okay. So now it's Nura's point of view because they're looking at her memories. She meets Max when she's 10, joins the orders at 12, kills for the first time at 18. She's 20.
It's like getting your driver's license.
Sure. She's 21 when Max gets Riche. 22 when she makes Max burn Sarlazai. And 28 when she tries to wield Riche for the first time. While Riche is fighting her off, Nura has visions of death and torture and sees the towers collapsing, and then sees a man wearing a crown. So she decides to encourage unrest against the queen, and then finds a Fae while they're in Threll, and decides to quote unquote study it.
Take it apart bit by bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, she had visions of Ara being destroyed. So she's convinced she's doing the right thing. It's Max's point of view. Nura opens a door, and there are 6 Fae in a glass room. He and Tasana recognize Ishka's son. So they found him.
There he is.
Max realizes Nura is trying to create more Richeys. She says they don't have a choice. I know this isn't morally good. I know it isn't right, but I've made the hard choices before, and I'll do it again if it means saving this country. Tasana says that's what the people in Nizranian thought too. The Threllians used it against them. Nura knows about the hands that were sent to them,
Hey, that box of hands, I know about that.
and says she wants to keep them from walking away alive. Max says that Richey never cared who it killed, which is true. You make more, you're just making more dead people, essentially. Right. Tasana finds a paper, and then they realize that Nura bought slaves from Threll. And that's when her and Max finally hit their limit and they leave. They want nothing to do with Nura.
We found your slave receipt.
Yeah. And then it's Tasana's point of view. They use a stratogram to go back to the cottage, but it's burned down, obviously.
Because they burned it down.
She says she sacrificed everything for the refugees to become gears in a different machine. So they go to see the refugees, tell them about the hands. And Phileas says Tasana didn't do enough, which isn't really fair. It's Max's...
Pretty ungrateful refugees that they've done an awful lot to help out.
Yeah. It's Max's point of view. They walk through the city, talk about running away. Moth and some of the other soldiers run up to them. They say plans have changed, and they were told to remain on lockdown and ready for action. Moth asks if Max is going to hide again, because that's what he did last time. And then Tasana says she has a plan. There's another option besides Nura and Ishka, but Max is not going to like it. They go back to the towers. Nura is about to become officially Archcommandant. She asks the council to appoint her, but one of the counselors nominates Max. And he accepts. Nura says he can't because of what happened in Sarlazai, but Tasana says her contract with Zareth said Max would be freed from restrictions. And counselor says the only way to settle this is for them to have a 4th trial because they're supposed to go through 4 trials. They've already done the first 3 technically.
Okay.
They'll have it at sundown because Nura wants to get it out of the way as soon as possible.
Duel at sundown.
Duel at sundown. Before the trial, they tell Samrin about the hands and the creature and meeting Ishka. And he was like, Jesus Christ, guys, you were supposed to be taking a break.
There's a lot of shit going on here.
Yeah.
We got a bucket of hands for.
Well, the 4th trial happens in like this big chasm. It's a fight between the 2 candidates. Samrin tells Max not to use his fire snake magic.
It's awfully convenient that they've just got a big chasm hanging out.
So they go to the chasm and climb the stairs to the bottom. Max and Nura face off. Nura says she always loved Max and says she's willing to make hard decisions. They start fighting. Max tells her to yield because he doesn't want to kill her, but she does crazy magic. And so he says fuck it and does the fire snake thing that he was not supposed to do.
Not supposed to do that.
Yeah, and then it's Tasana's point of view. She can feel something weird in the air. There's a Sarrazin standing with her and Samrin. Her eyes, her not eyes,
her voids,
turn black and she starts attacking them. And then Max fights Nura off and feels something shift. Hears someone say, there you are, and then he blacks out. And then Samrin and Tasana are fighting with Sarrazin. Tasana still doesn't have magic, but she manages to cut her throat. And then she does the thing she tried to do with Max. She cuts the Sarrazin's hand open and takes her magic so that Tasana has something. There are more Sarrazin fighting them. She tells Samrin she's going to go into the chasm to find Max and gives him Ishka's feather. Says to burn it if she doesn't come right back. And then it's Max's point of view. The voice asks where they are. Max asks, who the fuck are you? It says it's the blood of the people that have been stolen. Max realizes it's the Fae King. He says he'll return the people Nura took. The king says, I don't trust humans.
Fair.
Yeah. Tasana realizes the Syrian are trying to take her, not kill her. But then she sees Max and realizes something has control of him. Riche calms back for a second and tells Tasana to let her go. Not Max, asks if Aoife remembers anything, and then grabs her face and starts ripping Riche out of Tasana. Because I guess there must have been just a teeny tiny part left. It's Max's point of view. He hears someone say Kadwan, and then realizes Ishka is there. Kadwan says he's fixing the damage Ishka caused, which is fair. Max breaks free and tells Tasana to take his magic. So, by taking Max's magic, they're hoping that Kadwan won't be able to have control of him anymore. Because there won't be anything for Kadwan to leech off of.
Okay.
So, she does. She briefly sees Aoife's face, fully for the first time. When Max sees Ishka picking up Tasana, he tells Ishka to leave without him. And then Nura knocks him out before he can get away. And then it's Aoife/Riche. Her senses come back. She realizes she's got fingers again. And then Kadwan tells her she's safe. And she realizes she has a whole ass body again, actually. She asks why he didn't come for her sooner. He says he didn't know she was alive until he felt her in Threll a few months ago. He says the world will be better off when the humans are gone. So he's planning a genocide, basically. Okay. And then it's Max's point of view. He's in and out of consciousness. Remembers a girl with black and silver hair, who's Tasana, for the record. Hears Nura saying they need to find the traitors. She puts him on trial and says he sold them out to the Fae, sentences him to life in Ilyazath. So that's why Ilyazath said to him, what difference does a few weeks make? Because the prison knew he was going to be in there.
Right.
And that's Tasana's point of view. She dreams about Max, wakes up in a tent. Samrin comes in and says she's been out for a month. She runs outside and realizes she's in Thrall. Samrin tells her Max is in prison. She says they have to get him out. And Samrin's like, we're going to. And then, at the end, Nura is crowned Queen of Ara. So Nura is now the queen.
Okay.
And that's when the book ends. So it got a little bonkers crazy.
Yeah, it gets real crazy at the end there, and not real sure I got all of it, but okay.
Which parts are you not getting?
Well, so Riche comes back. Mm-hmm. Does she get a body again, or is she inside?
No, she has a whole ass. She has her body back.
So she's like a whole person again.
Yes.
Okay, and then the guy who she liked, who got shot with the arrow and died,
He's not dead.
He was inside Max.
Yes.
And now he has a body, or is he still inside of Max?
He wasn't inside Max. He was using his magic to take control of Max.
Where did he come from? I thought he died.
Yeah, so did Aoife, Riche.
So he didn't actually die.
He didn't actually
He
die.
was just hanging out.
He was seriously... We'll find out more in the next book, but he was seriously injured. Ishka found him later, had to nurse him back to health, that whole thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Super confusing at the end there. I don't know where all these people came from. I thought we were making some progress and everybody was dying and I was going to have less stupid names to remember. Turns out, the exact opposite. They all came back. Which, like every one of your books, everybody who dies comes back.
Not everybody who dies.
Well, it seems like it.
No, Zareth is dead for real.
Okay. For now. We'll see.
The Thrallian slave lords are dead for real.
The people with no hands, they still don't have hands.
Correct. The other Fae are all dead for real. The only person who's been brought back at this point is technically Aoife, and she didn't even fully die.
But you thought she did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kadwan was never dead. We just didn't know that.
But you thought he was dead.
Thought he was dead, yes.
They said he was dead. They said he didn't make it.
Yeah, Ishka said he didn't.
So 2 people came back from the dead.
Ishka might have been lying to her also.
Still.
Because he was...
As far as the viewer, 2 people came back from the dead.
All right, you made your point.
Yeah.
Okay. The gist of it, Aoife is Riche.
Yeah.
She now has a body again.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
What do you think I rated this one?
Oh, man. You probably... I mean, I know you like these. You gave the last one a 4. You usually like the middle one most, so I'm going to say you gave it a 5.
I did. Yeah. 5 stars.
5 stars.
Even though you're fucking confused as hell.
I'm maybe giving it a half a star.
Justin. That's so rude.
Yeah, I guess that's 5 stars, huh?
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
It takes a lot of like thought process to weave together 2 different stories and then make them
I don't like that.
meet at the end
like
in
it.
a way that makes sense.
I don't like it.
You don't like a lot of things.
That's true. I don't.
All right.
You know what I do like? Update on my Joe Exotic book.
Oh God.
So, as we've said, my initial time that I talked about the Joe Exotic book was, 2 episodes ago? That was not 2 weeks ago. It was like 5 days ago for us. I have read another chapter. Joe Exotic is convinced in this book that he is immune to AIDS because his first husband had AIDS. So he's convinced that he's immune to AIDS in one of 2 ways. Either he is part of 1% of the population that has complete immunity to AIDS, which I don't think is a real thing, or he has gotten so many rabies vaccines from being bit by wild raccoons that it has made his white blood cells immune to AIDS.
That sounds made up also.
It's my favorite thing. I love that he just makes up stuff.
Oh my
It's
God.
a great book. Go buy it right now. It's at Ollie's for $4.99. That's my Joe Exotic update for this week.
Okay, I'm glad we did that.
That's my book. I read too.
Next time, we are starting the last book in this series, Mother of Death and Dawn.
And you've got it sitting on the counter, and it is so many goddamn pages, so I can bet this is going to be 2 more episodes.
Yeah, it's chunky.
Big fat book.
Okay.
Like my cock. That's a lie.
Why did you have to do that?
Just because it's funny. You'll probably cut it out.
I might. Watch me. All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Follow us on Facebook and TikTok.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Do
Bye.
the thing.